Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is March 9th, 2025. My name is Tom Thompson, and you are here with me watching Anomalous. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new, please take a look at our other content, subscribe, leave a like, and definitely, most importantly, share it. And leave us some feedback in the comments section. We really like talking to our audience. It's one of the main reasons why we do what we do. Digby is not here today. He has family engagements. He's cooking for a lot of people, as he usually does, over there at his commune in Portugal, as I like to call it. It's just a busy time for him right now, so I'm going to be trying to carry the load the best that I can here. I would be lying to you if I said that today wasn't absolutely exhausting and frustrating to the point that I was essentially in tears. As many of you know, I am having very significant problems with my computer. There is a possibility that I'll get midway through this and my computer will crash and I'll just lose it all. This is the third time that I'm trying to record something today of value. I hope all of you out there are doing well. I hope you've had a good weekend. And today's a big day, obviously, for the fortunate individuals that are able to attend the South by Southwest Festival, and they get to see this film, The Age of Disclosure. And, you know, I'm not going to really go into expectations at this point because I think it's one of those situations where it's better if we just wait and see. But I will say that there have been some really interesting quotes surrounding this particular project. How rattled the director was at certain things that he learned. There was, I think it might have been Variety magazine said something about it too that was kind of interesting. I know there's a review up, I believe, on IndieWire, and the headline is The Age of Disclosure Review, a case for alien life that's far more serious than anything we've seen before. It says the 34 military and intelligence veterans interviewed about their knowledge of alien encounters offered the most convincing argument you can make without showing any actual evidence. It's an interesting thing to say. But it's still going to frustrate people, right? Because that's the last part of this that is required. But they do say in this article that it feels very fair to say that the Age of Disclosure makes a more serious argument for the idea that we've had close encounters of the third kind, more so than any documentary that preceded it. The Age of Disclosure receives a B+ grade from IndieWire, and it is currently seeking U.S. distribution. All right, look. These types of projects, they have to happen. They need to get as many eyes on this as possible. They need to have as many people hearing the message as they can. Why? Because if the government is going to disclose anything, the only thing that's going to cause that to truly, properly happen is an immense amount of pressure. And the more you have people aware of what is going on, and the more that you can bring in individuals with serious resumes to talk about this in the way that they are, the better the chance that we have to actually hear something from the government/military. This is not an easy task, though, because there's a lot of different interests involved here. It's not all about keeping non-human life hush hush. It's not. There's money involved here. There have been crimes that were committed in the name of keeping this secret. There may have even been crimes committed in the name of trying to bring it out. You know, there's a lot of complications involved with this. And the public perception right now has clearly shifted. There's a lot of frustration. There's people making fun of this at this point. And I'm suspicious in a way. Because we had the whole Jake Barber thing go down. We have some very serious, credible people talking about the legitimacy of what Skywatcher is doing. Like Gary Nolan. And then you go online and read in various communities. Reddit we'll use as a really good example. People talking about how the Jake Barber story like created all these issues, and now it's a big joke, and it's like, well, all right then. Well, you know, we need to hear from everybody. You know, what do we have to have happen? What has to happen, really? Like, in all seriousness, genuinely, what is going to be required to convince people that this is going on? What do you need? Because I also believe that there are going to be people out there that aren't going to believe this no matter what, unless they are essentially brought into the same room as some of this technology or some of these life forms or whatever can be presented to them physically in person. They will not believe it otherwise. So, and again, maybe things are just really simple. Maybe there are individuals in the government and the military that want this to come out, and then there are those that don't, and they're fighting. Period. You know, this gets everything that's been going on, it gets pulled in like 20 trillion different directions to the nth degree. And sometimes I feel like it's better maybe to just take a deep breath and take a step back and try to be logical, but also try to be almost minimalist about the way that you look at everything that's going on, right? So, I'll give you an example. If person A is just a regular citizen, let's say they work at a post office, and they saw a UFO and they tell you about it, okay? You know, how much credibility is that going to carry with it? How much weight? Person B, maybe is former naval intelligence. They were serving our country for a decade. They had, you know, security clearances, access to things that a regular citizen would not. And then they tell you, this is real. This is happening. I've even seen it. I've experienced it. That does carry a lot of weight. And it should. It really should. I think, logically speaking, we can all agree that, yeah, it has to, right? Because then if it doesn't, then who do you need to hear from in order for you to be convinced that something is going on? And I think without even answering any questions at all, I think it's really fair, and I think everyone on both sides of the main argument can agree with the fact that it does appear that something is going on, regardless of what that thing happens to be. There's something. And we seem to be moving towards, you know, an event horizon, you know, a UFO singularity, if you will. I don't know where we'll be in a year from now or even 6 months. But hopefully, this documentary, Age of Disclosure, will have a positive impact on the entire conversation. Now, another piece of information I can share with you guys about this work, if you didn't know, is that the director had been working on this essentially in secret, he says, for 2.5 years, because a lot of people would try to stop the creation of the film if I guess they had been very public about it, and that there were people taking risks and things of that nature. I believe that's probably true. If we are to believe, historically speaking, that crimes have been committed in the name of eliminating any possibility of this information making it out into the public's hands, we would have to take that into consideration. That some of those forces still exist and are still in play to this day. So, I also wanted to there was a post that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention as well. I'm trying to get in contact with the individual that made this particular post because I found it very, very interesting. Apparently, there was an analysis done on some of these UFO crash retrieval related materials. This was initially posted on the Reddit ufo_b, and I'm actually going to save some of the slides. Apparently, actually, you know what we can do? I'll just share the screen real quick. I'll pull it out, and then we can look at it and read the post really quickly here, because there's a lot more that can be found outside of the post itself. And I feel like that would probably be the better way for someone to actually look at this properly. So let's see here. Try to do it this way. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, so doing the best that I can. Let's see. Share screen. Share screen. Yeah. Mute website notifications while sharing. Sure. Okay. So, I'll read this to you guys really quick. By testing and analyzing UFO materials, and this is from someone named MYT Brain. By testing and analyzing UFO materials, I've made some very useful observations. It's looking like there is usable propulsion technology in these UFO samples. Let's see. We'll be presenting my findings live streamed on APEC 15th of March 2025. So that's going to be in 6 days from now. The too long didn't read is that there's lead nanoparticles in the magnesium layers which expand and eventually rupture during operation. They seem to be what is rectifying the terahertz phonons into usable thrust. When these are all used up, the magnesium layer is ejected. There's been a lot of cases where UFOs have been seen dropping like molten material, which unfortunately can be confused with sometimes flares that are dripping too. Now, I don't know who this individual really is. I have reached out to them for further comment because I would really like to bring them onto the show and lay this out. But apparently, from what I understand, if what I'm remembering is correct and what I was reading, this individual had released some type of analysis And then right after that was released, Arrow put out their nonsensical bullshit report. So I find that pretty interesting. It's like, well, no, this is science. This is showing us something. And you're talking about, Project Blue Book. Again, I didn't trust Arrow. I still don't trust Arrow. So I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention here. Because this is what everyone is really looking for right now. And this is why I did the video the other day that I did on the passive radar. Because this is essentially evidence that's being driven outside of government and military oversight. You don't need anyone's permission to do this. Of course, you have to have the right tools and the right knowledge and things of that nature, but it can be done. And I also want to bring up the fact that Gary Nolan, who again is one of the few people that I really trust, I really do. I've interacted with him. I've interviewed him. He is a genuinely good person. He's one of my favorite people in all of ufology, even though I think he would probably like to take himself out of that. He doesn't, I don't think he considers himself a ufologist technically, but nonetheless, I trust Gary. I really do. I know some people don't have the highest opinion of him and a lot of other people out here, but Gary is one of those people that I really do have trust in. I do. And Gary said that there are multiple groups that he is aware of right now that are doing what Skywatcher is doing, and they are calling these craft and these beings, and they are making some sort of contact with them with psionic assets. And I know some people don't want to talk about that, but let's be honest here. The psychic portion of the UFO story, it has been related to this since the beginning. I find it really odd that anyone's really rejecting that, because, I would say that 80% of abduction cases feature individuals that talk about their experiences where they were, taken from wherever they were by non-human beings. A lot of times those beings are the Greys. We know what they look like. And that any type of communication was done telepathically. It's been right there the whole time. So that's what I don't understand, is like, why does anybody really have any trouble with the notion of a psionic asset? I don't. I think it's part of the equation. I really do. Consciousness, as time goes on, the mystery of consciousness is going to play a giant role in this story, whether we like it or not. I think it probably has a lot of secrets to reveal to us. But hear me out. If the psionic thing makes you pause, go look at all of the research that the CIA was doing into these types of abilities. Why, you think that just stopped and disappeared? It wouldn't have gone on nearly as long as it did if there was just nothing to it. Remote viewing is the best example I like to use. There are statisticians that talk about the official data on remote viewing is clearly indicative of a phenomena occurring. Maybe it's in its infancy. Maybe this is something that human beings are just beginning to develop. Maybe this is something that we used to be able to do a lot more, but we forgot how to do it because we've become more reliant on technology and things of that nature. We don't know what we don't know. I said that at the end of one of my videos, and that's a statement that really resonates with me, and that's why I say it as often as I do. We don't know what we don't know. For all we know, our entire universe could be a cell, on the ass of some creature we can't even imagine. We don't know. We don't know. And I'm not saying that I even believe that, but whether you come from a religious background or a purely scientific, even atheist background, both worldviews require some type of leap of faith. They both require some miracle. And yes, even science, I'm serious, it does. Something out of nothing. We don't know what came before the Big Bang. We don't know what the Big Bang was. We don't know what caused it. We don't really know what it was before it went kaboom. Scientists are just taking guesses at that point. They don't have any actual answers to those questions, and they're not. I'm not saying that against scientists. What I'm saying is that it's a mistake to think that we really have anywhere near enough information on all of this. And I've said this before too, but I would really like to reiterate this. If ufology was a court case and we had to prove whether or not something was going on, ufology wins. It does. There's too much evidence over the years. Whether you want to believe that or not, I mean, go back in the literature. There is so much information out there that is literally just buried in books and in articles and in videos and things of that nature. But because there's so much of it, some of it gets lost to time. But it still exists, and it's still there. And you can go find it. You know, it hasn't been deleted. My personal archive that I keep on my computer, I mean, it has thousands of books and articles and papers and essays, you name it. Now, couple that with the individuals that are speaking up in this documentary. And I understand right now is a low point as far as trust between the public and even those people that have made these claims in the age of disclosure. But what if at least one of them is really telling the truth here? And I would say chances are, when it's that many people, that's probably the case. And if that's the case, I would say that there's probably more than one. And if that's also the case, I would say that there's a good chance most of them probably are. Maybe minus a few knuckleheads in the midst of it for, you know, whatever reason. Ladies and gentlemen, this planet is being visited by a non-human intelligence. Something is interacting with us. I've seen it more than once. It has interacted with some people that I know more than once. And we don't require the government or the military to tell us that. But if they want to, we should encourage it. We have to start building bridges instead of burning them. I would encourage everyone to take a step back and just look at the totality of all the information that's coming out. Because I believe it was 34 different officials make an appearance in this documentary, which is obviously the hot topic of the day, which is why that's mainly what I'm talking about here right now and tonight. Do you really honestly think that all 34 of those people, they're all lying and they're just all in on some psyop that nobody can seem to figure out an actual reason why they would do it that makes sense? Wouldn't it make more sense that something is going on when you take into account the entire body of evidence that we have to work with? We have stories from antiquity all the way to the present. You know, that's the one thing I really want people to pay attention to. Go read Wonders in the Sky from Jacques Vallée. I mean, this is not new. It's not the Chinese and it's not the Russians. It's not. Maybe in there's a better chance of some of it being that in the modern time that we find ourselves living in, because reverse engineering and things of that sort. But you don't have to go that far back into history, and it becomes very, very obvious that something weird was happening. And it's been going on for a very long time. This wasn't going to be a long episode. Just a little bit of a blurb. I think Digby and I may have something on Tuesday. I'm working on some other things in the background too, like actual videos as well, like actual editing involved, but it's just been a nearly impossible task to get that done. I'm essentially saving my work every 3 seconds. But I wanted to put something out today, especially with the documentary coming out. I would love to be able to see it, but I know they're looking for distribution still at this time. But if anybody that watches this video today happens to know of a way to watch it that I am unaware of, please leave that in the comments. Because a lot of other people, I'm sure, would like to go out and see it, but couldn't. So having access would be fantastic. I just, I feel like a blind painter. I have all of this inspiration right now, all of these creative ideas, and I feel like I have my hands tied behind my fucking back, and it's just so frustrating. There have been some people that were kind enough to donate to the Help Save Tom's Computer cause, and I want to say thank you so much to those of you that have done that. It's just it's embarrassing for me because I guess I'm a prideful person, and I work very hard. I work really, really hard. At my day job, I work really hard. I put my heart and soul into all of the things that I do on here. And this isn't just like a hobby for me, this is like, I'm trying to go for it here and make something of myself and entertain people and create content that people really enjoy. I get to do a lot of different things that use my God-given abilities, wherever they came from. Not everyone is artistic. And I was fortunate enough to be blessed with certain things that I'm able to do. And I thank the universe or source or whatever for that, because it's always been in me, and it's what I love to do. Music and anything visual and writing and all of that. And it's just so frustrating and so tiring. If you feel compelled to try to help my situation out of appreciation for our content, maybe you saw something on ⴛᴛᴍ'괜 that you really enjoyed. Maybe we've spoken before. Maybe we've had some kind of interaction that left a positive impact on you. Maybe you are somebody that's in our chat. It would be deeply appreciated to a level that you can't even begin to imagine. It has just been one of the most challenging times ever for me. So what I'm about to throw up on screen here are just the best ways for you to do that. Sometimes people will come and watch our videos and they'll see it on YouTube. Showing your appreciation and donating to us through YouTube is probably not the way to do it, because YouTube takes so much money from creators. I mean, it's insane how much they take, really. I wouldn't even do that. If you really want to donate to someone, and even aside from myself. These are probably the best way to do it. Yeah, I'm going to throw this up on screen. This was the post. That's my Cash App, my PayPal, and my Venmo. Again, I didn't want to spend too much time on this, but, you know, there's 8.5 billion people out there, and figured, hey, you know what? Maybe there's one good person that will see this and will feel compelled to help. Because I know I would. I know I would do it if I had it like that. If I could, God, I know people right now I would do it for, you know. So, but you know, if you want to look at that on screen, take a picture of it, whatever you want to do, anything helps right now, and I appreciate it. And to the, like I said, to the people that did already donate, thank you so much. I hope one of these days that I can be there for you and that I can repay you in some way. I do need to get some rest. I do have a day job, obviously, so, and I'm exhausted. But thank you for spending a little bit of time with me here today. I really appreciate it, everybody. My name is Tom Thompson. You've been watching Anomalous. For Digby and myself, and for our wonderful audience. You guys are amazing. We do this for you and with you, and we love you. Stay safe out there, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care.